Okay, so I'm doing my own hosting. So good evening, everyone. Tonight we are starting this new topic, new sutta, or new series of suttas that talks about heavens and perhaps some of the practices that lead to the different heavens in Buddhism. So we are going to start off with the paying respects to the Buddha. We can bow 3 times. First bow, second bow, third bow. And we do the opening chant, homage. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. 3 refuges. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. And the 5 precepts. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kamesu miccācara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musawada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Surameraya majjapamadatthana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so good evening to all. So tonight's theme, or this series of theme, we call it Too Much Heaven. We'll be talking about the different heavenly realms and some of the suttas that describe the path leading to them. Okay, so I think we might have covered this before, so we'll just do a quick read through and basically comment along the way. It's Salayaka Sutta. It's the Brahmins of Sala. You can find it in Majjhima Nikaya 41. I've heard that on one occasion, while the Blessed One was on a wandering tour among the coastlines with a large community of monks, he arrived at Salawatika. The Brahman householders of Sala heard it said, Gotama the contemplative, the son of the Sakyans, having gone forth from the Sakya clan on a wandering tour among the coastlines with a large community of monks, has arrived at Sala, and of that Master Gotama this fine reputation has spread. He is indeed a blessed one, worthy, a rightly self-awakened. So basically, this Brahman householders, they heard of the reputation, a good reputation of the Buddha. And interestingly, in the suttas, the Buddha has been marketed on these 9 qualities, 9 qualities of the Buddha, which we kind of do in some of the morning and evening services. So these are the first few. We chant the Itipiso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho. So he's a blessed one, worthy, rightly self-awakened, consummate in knowledge and conduct, well gone, a knower of the cosmos, and unexcelled trainer of those persons ready to be tamed, teacher of human and divine beings, awakened, blessed. Right? So you see the term here, knower of the cosmos. So why we can talk about the different heavenly realms, because the Buddha himself has seen all the different heavenly and even the hell realms, the different realms of existence. So this sutta will talk about it. And we can find another term here, teacher of human and divine beings. Interestingly, the Buddha is not a teacher of ghosts, not a teacher of hell beings, not teacher of animals. So only human and divine beings. So because only human realm and above, they have the capacity to understand and practice the teachings, understand and practice the Dhamma. They have the potential to understand and practice. Right? So unless you are born in some very miserable condition, let's say you're starving, famine, war, a bit hard. But if let's say you're in a conducive environment, probably quite okay. Human and divine beings, awakened, blessed. He has made known, having realized it through direct knowledge, this world with its devas, maras, and brahmas, its generations of their contemplatives and brahmans, their rulers and common people, has explained the Dhamma admirable in the beginning, admirable in the middle, admirable in the end, has expounded the holy life, both in its particulars and in its essence, entirely perfect and pure. It is good to see such a worthy one. Right, so his reputation is so good that even the Brahmins in Sala wanted to meet the Buddha. Right, so his teachings have reached out not just to heavenly beings, but to people, common people. So these are we call it the teachings. So you won't see the teaching reaching to animals. You can't, I think they can't understand also. Okay, so the Brahmin householders of Sala went to the Blessed One. On arrival, some of them bowing down to him, sat to one side. Some of them exchanged courteous greetings with him, and after an exchange of friendly greetings and courtesies, sat to one side. Some of them placing their hands palm to palm over their heart in its direction, sat to one side. Some of them announcing their name and clan in his presence, sat to one side. Some of them remaining silent, sat to one side. So in the Buddha's time, he never forced people, hey, all of you must bow down to me. All of you must circumambulate me. Never. Right? So it's totally dependent on the intention of the listener, because probably at that time there's so many practices, so many different faiths, so many different belief systems, so many different rituals, so many customs and practices. So some of them prefer bowing, right? After you bow down, you sit to one side. The Buddha's time, the monks circumambulate him. So very different. Some of them exchange greetings. So some of them chit chat with the Buddha, introduce themselves, introduce their name, maybe have some informal conversation. What do you do? What's their occupation? Introduce, have some bit ice breaking. Then they sit to one side. Some of them place their palms in the Anjali, right, Normally we do the Anjali, right? Then they do that also. Yeah, place in the heart, set to one side. Some of them, announce their name and clan and sit to one side. So it's like VIP, right? They announce their name. Okay, who and who have arrived. Okay, and then they just sit one corner. Then some of them just come in quietly, just want to, they just want to observe, and they just set to one side. So there's no hard and fast rule. Okay, then as they were sitting there, the Brahman householders of Sala said to the Blessed One, "What is the reason, Master Gautama? What is the condition whereby some beings here, with the breakup of the body, after death, reappear in the plane of deprivation, the bad destination, the lower realms in hell? And what is the reason? What is the condition whereby some beings here with the breakup of body after death reappear in the good destinations in the heavenly world?" So actually we're going to cover both. We're going to cover hell and of course the other bad planes, the hungry ghost, animal realm. And the second part, then we'll cover heaven. So this is a transition. Householders, so the Buddha's reply, householders, it's by reason of undhamma conduct. So if you're not practicing in accordance to the Dhamma, then you appear in the lower realms. This dissonant conduct that some beings here, with the breakup of the body after death, reappear in the plane of deprivation, the bad destination, lower realms in hell. It's by reason of Dhamma conduct, harmonious conduct, that some beings here, with the breakup of the body after death, reappear in good destinations in the heavenly world. Okay, so this is the interesting thing. So there's this term, right? Dhamma. So any being that practice in accordance with the Dhamma can go to heavenly world in good planes, good destination, good human birth and higher. And those who are not practicing in accordance to the Dhamma, that will lead to these lower, these bad destinations. So what is this Dhamma here? Is the Dhamma the scriptures, the Dhamma the teachings of Buddhism only? Right, so we are going to see the definition. So these Brahmins replied, "We don't understand the detailed meaning of Master Gautama's brief statement." Very brief. The detailed meaning of what he hasn't analyzed. It would be good if Master Gautama would teach the Dhamma so that we would understand the detailed meaning of Master Gautama's brief statement. The detailed meaning of what he hasn't analyzed. So in the Buddha's time, the Buddha don't give very, very long lectures, if let's say we go to the previous slide, if the audience didn't ask me a question, then that's the end of the Dhamma talk. That's the end of the Dhamma talk. Maybe 1 or 2 minutes, finish. End of the Dhamma talk, then that's it. So a lot of the suttas are like that. The Buddha will just say, utter a few verses, and that's it, finish. And that's the end of the sermon. Right? It's not like a long, long lecture unless somebody asks questions. So very well, in that case, householder, listen and pay careful attention. I will speak. As you say, Master, the Brahman householders of Sala responded to the Blessed One. Right, so the Buddha is going to give something heavy, so make sure the audience have to pay attention. So the audience and the Brahman householders, they say, okay, they're listening. And the Blessed One said, householders, there are 3 sorts of undhamma conduct. Dissonant conduct with the body, 4 sorts of undhamma conduct, dissonant conduct with speech, and 3 sorts of undhamma conduct, dissonant conduct with the mind. So there are 3, I would say, wrong behaviors with the body, 4 kinds of wrong behavior with regard to speech, and 4 kinds of wrong behavior with regards to the mind. 3. So 3, 4, 3. So total 10. So these are the 10 demeritorious actions. So we're going to go through them. Okay, and how are there 3 sorts of undhamma conduct, dissonant conduct with the body? So the first one, there's a case where a certain person takes life, is brutal, bloody-handed, devoted to killing and slaying, showing no mercy to living beings. So this is the first undhamma conduct with the body, that is killing. So earlier on, I think we chanted the 5 precepts in Pali, the Panatipata, right? So that is the, for layperson, you all have the 5 precepts, but down here they will just show the main, how do you call this? At least 4 precepts. They never mention alcohol, but that doesn't mean we can no, start to take alcohol. Okay, then the second one, he takes what is not given. He takes in the manner of a thief things in a village or in a wilderness that belong to others and have not been given by them. Right, so this is the precept of not stealing. Okay, so the idea of upholding the precept, right, is to prevent the mind from greed and anger. So if a person wants to kill, they kind of cover or obscure their compassion. So if a person refrain from killing, they're actually cultivating compassion. So this is the first conduct. Second conduct, if a person want to steal something, usually it's greed, motivated by greed. You want something that you do not have, someone else have it, you want it, and you kind of take it illegally, right? You take it out of greed, then no, that is stealing. Why it's not being given to you, then you go and take it. Okay, he engages in sensual misconduct. He gets sexually involved with those who are protected by their mothers, their fathers, their brothers, their sisters, their relatives, or their Dhamma. So this Dhamma means their rules and regulation. Those with husbands, those who entail punishments, or even those crowned with flowers by another man. Right, so this one is got to do with the law. So if a person kind of breaks the law, maybe at a certain age, you cannot have any sexual activity with the other person, right? So this is the so-called Dhamma. Depends on the country, depends on the society. Then of course those who are already married or engaged, then one shouldn't have this kind of sexual activity. So it's even mentioned here, if a person is still under their guardianship by their parents or relatives, and they are still not of age, then one shouldn't have this kind of sexual activity. So this is our third precept, to prevent and to avoid sexual misconduct. But this one is for a person who has no precept, then to them is like the animal realm. So anybody they see attractive, then they'll just engage in sexual activity. This is how there are 3 sorts of undhamma conduct, dissonant conduct with the body. All right, so these are 3 kinds of undhamma conduct with the body. And now, how are there 4 sorts of undhamma conduct, dissonant conduct with speech? All right, so we talk about body earlier, so now we talk about the speech, the words, the mouth. There is a case where a certain person engages in false speech, telling lies, where he has been called to a town meeting, a group meeting, a gathering of his relatives, his guild, or of the royalty. yeah, in the royal court proceeding, if he is asked as a witness, come and tell good man what you know. If he doesn't know, he says, I know. If he does know, he says, I don't know. If he hasn't seen, he says, I've seen. If he has seen, he says, I haven't seen. Thus, he consciously tells lies for his own sake, for the sake of another, or for the sake of a certain reward. Right? So the whole idea is in Buddhism, we say we have to speak the truth. Speak the truth. Okay, then speaking the truth also need to speak at the right time. So that's the next one. He engages in divisive speech. What he has heard here, he tells there to break those people apart from those people here. Right? So, yeah, even though it is true, right, whatever you hear by yourself, word for word, and you repeat to another group that is who is not in favor of that statement or that group of people, then you're basically breaking up people. So this one also try to avoid divisive speech. So even though it's the truth, what he has heard there, he tells here to break these people apart from those people there, thus breaking apart those who are united and stirring up strife between those who have broken apart. He loves factionalism, delights in factionalism, enjoys factionalism, speaks things that create factionalism. Right? So there are 1,001 kinds of things you can create factions on, different race, religion, different sects, even in the same religion, different dialect group, even if within a race, different nationality, different football team, right? So all these things people can argue about. So the whole idea is we try to reduce or even avoid this kind of unnecessary heating up an argument. Okay, so this is the divisive part to break up people and create this kind of infighting. And the next one, he engages in abusive speech. He speaks words that are harsh, cutting, bitter to others, abusive of others, provoking anger and destroying concentration. Right? So this one is abusive speech. So make sure whatever we say also has to have loving kindness. Have loving kindness, have affection and loving kindness. So a person may say something true, but it's hurting, yeah, hurting. So we have to say at the right time, or you package it nicely so that the other people can find it more acceptable. And interestingly, even though some of the things may be true, but then it's called undhamma. So what is this dhamma? If dhamma you literally translate, means the truth, then we need to find out what kind of truth are we seeking? Is it factual truth or is it the ultimate peace kind of truth? The spiritual truth, nibbana kind of truth. What kind of truth? What spectrum of truth are we looking for? Okay, then the fourth one, he engages in idle chatter. He speaks out of season, speaks what isn't factual, what isn't in accordance with the goal, the Dhamma, and the Vinaya, words that are not worth treasuring. So idle chatter, so basically talking nonsense lah. So these are the four kinds of undhamma conduct with the speech, right? So if a person say abusive speech, for example, do you think your mind will be peaceful? Scold people can feel peaceful, then something is special already, unless you're like enlightened being or bodhisattva or something. Okay, so usually if a person engages in all this abusive speech, idle chatter, and this divisive speech and lying, they will create remorse and regret in the mind. The mind will be not peaceful, right? So this will not be conducive for meditation. Likewise, for the three actions, physical actions, bodily action, killing, stealing, sexual misconduct. If it creates harm, there's unrest, then it won't help in the meditation. So some people think, hey, tonight is meditation class. Why are we talking about all this? Because all these are related to meditation. Some people think meditation is just sit there, sit like a Buddha statue, and that's meditation. Once you get up from the sitting, you go outside and start cursing and swearing, do all these funny things. You won't get peace. You won't achieve peace. So real cultivation, real mental cultivation is about your daily lifestyle. So whatever you speak, however you behave, all this will affect your state of mind. Affect your state of mind. You want to have a peaceful mind, you need to have good behavior. You cannot say, I behave nonsense outside, then I want to sit down and achieve peace. No, it can't be done. Huh? Okay, then the three. How are there three sorts of undhamma conduct, dissonant conduct with the mind? There's a case where a certain person is covetous, that means greedy. He covets the belongings of others, thinking, oh, that what belongs to others would be mine. So it's the thought of wanting to get, wanting to steal. And the second one, he bears ill will, corrupt in the resolves of his heart. May these beings be killed, or cut apart, or crushed, or destroyed, or may they not exist at all. So this anger or ill will. So these two are the two opposites, greed and anger. And the last one, he has wrong view. So we call this delusion. So we have greed, anger, and delusion. Is warped in the way he sees things. There is nothing given, nothing offered, nothing sacrificed. That means there's no need for charity, no need to do and practice generosity. There is no fruit or result of good or bad actions. So they don't believe in reaping what you sow. There is no this world nor next world. Do not believe in afterlife. No mother, no father, no spontaneously reborn beings. Right? So they don't acknowledge the parents even. No contemplatives or Brahmins who, faring rightly, practicing rightly, proclaim this world and the next after having directly known and realized it for themselves. Right? So they don't believe in any spiritual mentor or guide for them. So to them, they're independent, or they can do what they want. So these are, according at least to Buddhism, wrong view. So you see, there's a lot of no this, nothing this, no here, no there. Nothing to do in the Heart Sutra. So the Heart Sutra also have no rising, no passing, no six senses and stuff like that. So there's a different context, different definition. So this down here, no, literally means they do not acknowledge. Some people do not recognize. Do not recognize karma, do not recognize afterlife, do not recognize these practitioners and stuff like that. So interestingly, this is called mundane wrong view, mundane delusion. And there is a supramundane delusion. Supramundane delusion has to do with the Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths. If a person, let's say, they do believe there is karma, they do believe there is afterlife, and then they believe all these things, but still can get very upset, very clingy to concepts, sticking to concepts and ideas. You get upset if people do not agree with their ideas. then that would also considered clinging. As long as you have greed, you will cling, and therefore you get upset. So that is still not real detachment yet. Huh? So real detachment means, or rather the supramundane detachment, free from wrong view, has to do with not attached to views. So in the mundane sense, yes, we can believe there is karma, believe there is afterworld, but if we still can get upset, get greedy, get angry, then something is wrong. That means there's still some kind of delusion somewhere. There's a supramundane delusion. Wherever a person, however, if a person do not believe in karma, yeah, do not believe in the afterworld or next, but still can be a good person, they still can be very generous, very giving, very open-minded, very detached. And in that sense, they have the supramundane kind of right view. They're closer to supramundane kind of right view. Huh? So there are two kinds of delusions here. So this one down here, they mentioned the conventional kind of delusion. Right, so basically, it's just the mundane actions. You do not believe in bad results ripening, then you can do all the bad deeds you want. I do not believe in bad afterlife. Okay, just do all the bad things like enjoy. Huh? So this is how there are three sorts of undhamma conduct, dissonant conduct with the mind. So basically, these three kinds of thoughts, delusion, greed, and anger, will constitute the main factor of breaking the precepts. So if a person were to, for example, accidentally stab and kill an ant, if there is no intention, no anger, no greed, then they won't break the precept of killing. They won't break the precept of killing. That means they do not incur that kind of heavy karma of killing. All right? So that is the idea of this thought. So the thoughts, the speech, and the body are intertwined. And interestingly, if you look at all this, it kind of sums up most of the Noble Eightfold Path. So down here, this undhamma conduct kind of covers the opposite of right thought. Right thought will be thoughts of non-greed, non-hatred, and this non-delusion. And then you have the right speech, which covers the four kinds of speeches. And you have the right action, which covers the three bodily conduct. Right? So these are kind of part of the Noble Eightfold Path. So if a person were to practice their precepts, follow the precepts, they're actually practicing the Noble Eightfold Path and also in line with these 10 meritorious actions. So I'm not sure that I have time to cover the 10 meritorious actions. So tonight we'll just finish up with this last slide first. It's by reason of this undhamma conduct and dissonant conduct that some beings here, with the breakup of the body after death, reappear in the plane of deprivation, in the bad destination, the lower realms in hell. All right, so these are the three. Okay, so the next portion we'll talk about it in the next lesson. Next lesson we'll cover. So usually we just have about half an hour of theory. If not, it'll be too heavy for people. So I'll end the screen share. Currently, we are having this guided meditation session. So we can start by muting the microphone, and we can find a comfortable sitting position. Make sure your back is upright and the rest of the body relaxed. Once you have found a comfortable posture, we start off with a beat of visualization. We are doing the impurities of the body meditation or the Asubha meditation. And we start off with visualizing all the hairs of the head, hairs of the body. And when we start to visualize only, there will be a tendency that we may have wrong thoughts. If the hair appear to be beautiful and you have pleasant feelings, we'll tend to have greed. I like my hair. My hair is so beautiful. But if let's say you find your hair messy and ugly, then you might develop aversion, anger. So in order to practice the middle way, we start off with countering the thoughts, doing the opposite. So we first wish all the hairs well and happy, use loving kindness to overcome any forms of ill will or aversion. And once you finish the sentence to wish the hairs well and happy, then we move on to the next patch of hair. Wish it well and happy, move on to the next patch of hair. Yeah? Do not stay for too long. Once you stay for too long, there's a high probability of over dramatizing. The mind will come up with lots of unnecessary stories and dramas. So the generating of the thought, wishing the hairs well and happy is part of right thought. The repetition is called right. And the thinking of the hair object is part of mindfulness of the body. And then we can observe the state of mind or the emotion. And we can use the Four Noble Truths as a checklist. If we are practicing in accordance with the Noble Eightfold Path, which is the fourth Noble Truth, you have all the right thought and everything, it should lead to the third Noble Truth, which is to reduce the craving and tension and stress. So the mind should get calmer, means you're on the right track. But if for whatever reason, the more you meditate, the more stressful, the more frustrated, means you're experiencing the first two noble truths. Lots of expectation, lots of other plans and worries, lots of craving and suffering. And then we can observe how far can the mind settle down. So in this samatha phase, there is a limit to where the mind calms down. And if you find that, oh, the mind cannot calm down any further, then that would be your baseline emotion. So it's a neutral state, no concentrative jhanas, no vipassana at this point of time. But this will be the minimum requirement for insight or vipassana. So now we are switching to the insight or the wisdom phase. We are now going to think of all these hairs going through birth, aging, sickness, and death. So we kind of fast forward the process a bit. Think of the imagery of the hairs, birth, aging, sickness, and death. And as we keep looping this image, we need to label impermanence or any word or phrase associated with impermanence. You can use rising and passing, birth and death, change, anicca, just pick a favorite and keep repeating. So that's part of the right thought, to reduce greed and delusion. So make sure the image have to synchronize with the wordings. Don't over imagine, no storytelling, no story making. So for those who are a bit drowsy, you might need to increase the rate of impermanence. You need to deliberately label impermanence to generate this wakefulness. Okay, so if let's say there's real detachment going on, there should be a short moment of joy, and it should eventually disappear. So regardless of what emotion you experience, keep on labeling impermanence and see how far you can detach. So in this insight phase, there is no end to the detachment. The only end is if you reach enlightenment, just like this Arahant Sivali, able to reach enlightenment just by thinking of the hairs. So the same Four Noble Truth checklist apply. If you label impermanence, that's the fourth Noble Truth. It should lead to detachment. Once you stop labeling, it will cling to something else, sensual thoughts. Okay, then we can ask ourselves, are these hairs truly self? Can we tell the hairs not to go through birth and death? And the next part of the body, we can think of the nails, fingernails, and toenails, and we wish them well and happy. So back to the samatha phase, and we can observe what's the difference in the emotion or state of mind. And then now we can switch to the inside phase. So we think of the nails going through birth, aging, sickness, death. And we think of the nails growing and falling many, many cycles. And as we keep looping this image, we can keep labeling impermanence. Then we can ask ourselves, are these nails truly self? Can we tell the nails not to go through birth and death? And the next part of the body, we can think of the teeth. All the teeth inside the mouth, may they be well and happy. And all these teeth are subject to birth, aging, sickness, and death. So you think of the teeth growing and falling, many, many cycles. Even though the teeth fall off the most twice, we can just keep repeating. This is just a mental detachment exercise. And as we keep looping the image, we need to keep labeling impermanence. And we can ask ourselves, are these teeth truly self? Can we tell the teeth not to go through birth and death? And next we can think of the skin, the skin from head to toe. May they be well and happy. And all this skin are subject to birth, aging, sickness, and death. So you think the skin growing and falling many, many cycles. And as we keep looping the image, we can keep labeling impermanence. And then we can ask ourselves, are this skin truly self? Can we tell the skin not to go through birth and death? Okay, so now we switch to another meditation subject. We are now familiarizing with the four element sensations throughout the whole body. So these are the earth, fire, wind, water elements. Nothing mystical about them. So earth represents any hard or soft sensations. Fire is the temperature, hot and cold. Wind is the movements, any fast or slow movements. And the water is the moist or dry sensations. So the whole idea is not to control the elements. We are not uh, fighting with them. We let them appear naturally by themselves, and we do the same thing. We wish them well and happy. First, to make peace with the elements and the aggregates. So this is your real-time evidence. No need to imagine anything, no visualization. New sensation appear, may they be well and happy. New sensation appear, May they be well and happy. So even though we are using a different sense contact, the idea is the same. If you apply the right thought, right effort, and so on, it should calm the mind down to the same neutral baseline emotion. And this time round, we are going to wish all beings in all directions well and happy, above, below, and all across, all directions. Don't have to push the mind. We let it extend naturally by itself. Just make a gentle wish. However far it wish to extend doesn't matter. It's just a perception. And in that widened sphere of attention, we are going to perceive all beings as the four element sensations. All beings made of the four elements. No need to imagine how they look like, huh? So whatever sensation you detect, we are going to wish all beings well and happy. So these sensations can appear inside the body or outside, near or far, large or small area. Once you detect something, may all beings be well and happy. So the key ingredients still the same, right thought, right effort. Right thought is the may all beings be well and happy. And effort is the repetition. If all the conditions are right, if you have all the right thought, right effort, and everything, usually this loving kindness may lead to the first level of concentration. So if your emotion is pleasant compared to the neutral baseline from earlier, then that would be one of the indicator. And a bit more peaceful than before. And regardless of what you experience, keep on wishing may all beings be well and happy. Treat everything else as a byproduct. Holding on to anything is a kind of delusion. So you keep turning the Dhamma wheel, keep on generating the right thought. Okay, and now we are going to add some insight, some wisdom with that slightly concentrated state of mind. We are now going to think of impermanence. So whatever sensation appear, you change the label to impermanence. A new sensation appear, rising and passing. New sensation appear, rising and passing. If let's say that joy or happiness start to disappear, one may experience this neutral but refreshing kind of experience. So we call that equanimity. And regardless of what you experience, keep on labeling impermanence, treat everything else as a byproduct. Equanimity's function is to supposedly purify one's mindfulness. That means you're not so easily agitated by small irritations. So you can make use of this opportunity to delve into impermanence and detachment. Okay, before we conclude the session, same gentle reminder in all activities, whether we are standing, sitting, walking, or lying down, as long as we maintain this sublime state or this loving kindness or impermanence, then that would be the kind of noble kind of living. And with that, we can gently open our eyes, formally end the session, but informally still can generate right thought. Hey, any problems or questions? All okay, no issues? Then we move on to the dedication. Can you see the screen? Okay, so we do the Anumodana. Akasatha ca Bhumata Devanaga Mahitika Punyang tang anumoditva Cirang rakantu loka sasanang Etavata ca amhehi Sampadang punya sampadang Sabe dewa sabe bhuta sabe sata anumodantu Sabba sampati siddhya. Dedication of merits to departed. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Aspiration. Imina punya kamena mame bala samagamo. Satang samagamo hotu yavanibhana patiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And we end off by bowing to the Buddha 3 times. First bow, second bow, third bow. Okay, so that's the end of the session. The announcement would be, let me check today's date. Yeah, so the first Tuesdays of every month is actually the non-live stream session. So the basically for anybody to have private kind of interview or conversation or kind of any sensitive topics you want to discuss. So the only live stream or the continuation of this lesson will be on the 10th of September onwards. Okay, with that, if there's nothing else, good night.